friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to talk about food from Germany and what we can be inspired by, what we can learn about food, German food. German food is hearty. It's often cold, so it's comforting. And it's built around simple ingredients and high quality ingredients. So it's designed to keep you full and satisfied and comforted in the colder climate. German cooking emphasizes meat, potatoes, and bread. Pork is very popular. So lots of sausages, known as Wurst, and roasted cuts of meat. There are hundreds of regional sausage varieties, from mild flavored to heavily spiced sausages. One of the most famous is bratwurst. Bratwurst is often grilled and then served with mustard. And potatoes are definitely a staple. They come in many forms: boiled, mashed, fried, or dumplings, knödel. And another very famous side is sauerkraut. Sauerkraut. Try to say it with a German accent. We are quite familiar with that, but sometimes we don't realize that it's a German word, sauerkraut. So that's a sour, tangy, fermented cabbage. And that provides a lovely contrast to the rich meats. So they often have that in the same meal. Even a bratwurst kind of hot dog would have sauerkraut on it and maybe onions. Bread is a huge part of German food culture, but different bread, often dark, dense varieties like rye bread made with whole grains. And breakfast or dinner often revolve around bread. Abendbrot or evening bread is common, and they'll often use like cold meat, cheese, pickles, etc. So there'll also be rich, slow-cooked meals, like sauerbraten is a marinated roast. Schnitzel can be made with veal or sometimes chicken, which is breaded and fried meat cutlets. And so these are savory dishes with balanced flavors, not really spicy heat. And then when it comes to desserts, Germans are known for their baked goods. Cakes, pastries, and desserts are a big deal, like the Black Forest cake, the fruit tarts, and Kaffee und Kuchen. Coffee and cake in the afternoon is common. So the meals aren't complex, but they're rich, and there's a lot of variety and tradition involved in making satisfying, well-balanced meals. So what can we learn from Germany about food and cooking? So German cooking doesn't rely on a lot of ingredients. Often it's a few ingredients done really well, slow cooked to have the flavor developed, deep, rich, satisfying food with good flavor. We can look for recipes with like 3 to 5 core ingredients, focus on the technique, on the slow cooking, seasoning properly with salt, acidity, or fat, and then cooking so that there's a good sear on it. Don't overcomplicate it, but bring out that deep flavor. Then fermentation, pickling, curing are used very much in Germany as everyday tools. So any leftover vegetables can be turned into pickles by using a saltwater brine and doing a simple fermentation like sauerkraut from cabbage. I think that's a really beneficial, healthy, and delicious way to add things to your meals. And it's so easy because when you've made sauerkraut, you have it in the fridge. You don't have to create a vegetable side. Just add some sauerkraut to your meat dish or to your bratwurst or sausage. And then you've got your vegetables. You've got your vitamin C and your other nutrients in there. Then German food is designed to sustain and to satisfy. So building your meals around staples that are rich and hearty, potatoes, grains, legumes. This is great, especially in the winter. Always cold there. So we can copy that. Choose recipes that you can reheat well. So you've got lots, if you do it in the slow cooker, and prioritize things that are going to keep you full over fancy ingredients. So, investing in quality basics as well, making sure that you've got a good pantry of the potatoes and the root vegetables like your squashes, and then build your meals around those. Quality basics can also include good bread, sausages of various kinds. Germans take those seriously. Some good dairy, real butter, decent spices. So, fewer processed foods, more raw ingredients to make up these rich stews and roasts and casseroles in the oven. And then it's easy to satisfy the whole family. This is also a place where you can make double and freeze some, or make a big slow cooker full and freeze some of that, have leftovers. And then in Germany, meals are shared, unhurried, often eaten at a table, not alone with a screen. Try to enjoy that family mealtime together. Simple meals, no need to impress. Sometimes the food is served in the middle of the table or at a serving table so everyone can help themselves or top up their dishes as they wish to. Um, Usually there'll be a bread and there'll be some kind of starch like potatoes or rice with various fillings of those. Sometimes they mix things into the mashed potatoes, and then there'll be the main meaty, saucy, hearty dish. So for their mashed potatoes, they'll often add things like butter, warm milk, salt, maybe nutmeg, and then traditionally they'll add something like caramelized or fried onions to the mashed potatoes, even crispy bacon bits and sauerkraut, fresh herbs, and sometimes even an egg yolk to give it a solid texture. And then they'll sometimes mix applesauce, either have it on the side or mash it together with the mashed potatoes. So, to boil it down, the German mindset is to cook simply but well, to eat regularly, not randomly, to share meals with others, and to plan carefully, and then to make really hearty, satisfying food, especially for dinner times. German cuisine has a reputation for being hearty and comforting, as I've said, but a lot of its classic dishes are actually easy to make at home. So, here are some options that don't require fancy techniques or hard to find ingredients. So, the German potato salad is a great side dish made with boiled potatoes, onions, and then a tangy dressing like vinegar and mustard combined. Or the southern versions like Bavaria, they skip the mayonnaise, making it a bit lighter. So this pairs well with sausages or grilled meat. And then, as I've mentioned before, the most iconic combo is your bratwurst with sauerkraut. You can pan fry or grill the bratwurst, and then the sauerkraut is pre-made. You can heat it and season it, or have it cold, and then add some mustard for the sausage and bread to make it a full German meal. Schnitzel is a breaded cutlet of meat. Also, I mentioned before, traditionally it's pork or veal, but chicken works too. And often you can buy these ready made at the supermarket. Chicken schnitzel is a favorite of ours. We like to do it with cheese sauce, but you can do it with potatoes of any kind, lemon on the side to squeeze over it. So it's basically the meat coated in the flour, then the egg, and then breadcrumbs of some kind, and then fried. We buy it pre-made and we bake it in the oven. Then lentil soup is very popular in Germany, and this is a delicious meal, especially if you use red lentils. They kind of disappear and thicken the soup. They're amazing in soup. So red lentils, carrots, onions, sometimes bits of sausage, grated potato makes a great lentil soup. You simmer everything together in one pot. Then, if you want a baking project for your kids, pretzels are surprisingly easy to make. It's basically a yeast dough, and then you roll it into a worm and you shape it into the classic knot. And then you dip it in baking soda, a bath of baking soda water to get that chewy crust. And then you can serve it with butter or just plain. That's really delicious. So just Google German pretzel recipe. They also love to do applesauce as a simple sweet side or a dessert, which is basically cooked apples, sugar, and cinnamon. You simmer it and you mash it, and it's done in under 30 minutes. And this is even served with savory dishes like schnitzel. Then German fried potatoes are crispy and very satisfying, made with sliced boiled potatoes and then fried in a pan with onions and butter. Sometimes includes bacon for extra flavor. So leave them in there for a bit to get that golden crust. And then spatzel, cheesy spatzel is Germany's mac and cheese. Spatzel is a kind of egg noodle or a miniature dumpling. It's a chewy texture and it's made from flour and eggs and salt and a bit of water. So that noodle is then combined with a fancy cheese like Emmentaler or cheddar, topped with some crispy fried onions, and that's very filling and comes together quickly if you already have the noodles. And then German pancakes. These are closer to crepes than fluffy pancakes. So they have a basic batter, flour, eggs, milk, and salt, and they're cooked thin in a pan and then filled with a sweet jam or sugar, cinnamon, or savory ham and cheese filling. That's a great quick meal to do. Just Google German pancakes. Fun, let me see if I can say this, Pfannkuchen. Then a couple more meat dishes. Sauerbraten is pot roast in a tangy gravy. And that's a famous German beef dish. So the beef is marinated in vinegar, water, and spices for a couple of days and then slow cooked. So in the fridge, marinate, put the spices on, and then a bit of vinegar and water, and then put it into the slow cooker. And you end up with this tender meat that's got a sweet, sour gravy. It's actually really easy. Just plan ahead for the marinade and look up a recipe, Sauerbraten. And then a German style goulash is a comforting stew that uses chunks of beef and onions and paprika and broth, and you simmer it in one pot till it's tender. Currywurst is a street food favorite and it's easy to recreate. So sliced bratwurst with the ketchup-based curry sauce that you can find a recipe for that. The sauce is ketchup and curry powder and a bit of sugar and vinegar. So that's quick and casual, very beginner friendly. And then you could go to roast pork, which is a little more complex. Pork shoulder or belly roasted with garlic, onions, and caraway seeds. You get the crispy skin on the outside that's nicely seasoned, juicy inside. So that one's a little harder, but again, just look up a recipe and try it. So lots of fun to look at other countries and how they make their food and what their staple dishes are. I hope you're inspired to try one German style dish or more. Often the first time is the hardest with these things, but it's great to find things to add to your repertoire. If one of the things really goes down well and you enjoy it, you can add it to your weekly meals. Thanks for listening today. Have a fabulous week. I'll see you next time.